sun never rests. When silence screams, we listen. This is dead and wrong.
Welcome back to another episode, everyone. I'm Sunburnt Sam.
And I'm Pale Liz.
This is Dead and Wrong, your weekly podcast for all things dead. People, animals, ghosts, you name it. If it's dead, we are going to talk about it. And today I will be providing you with my own mystery episode of a missing girl and her remains.
Also, real quick, as I mentioned in the last episode, we are using a new program, and this program edits the audio differently than the previous one. So it's going to take a few times for us to get the kinks out, and by us, I mean me. So please just bear with us over the next few episodes while we get the editing situation all figured out. And with that, let's get to the Sam episode.
So, Dead and Wrong presents episode 18, Gina Renee Hall. If you remember that name, we talked about her in the Sanitorium, that thing of one of my first episodes that I did.
Was it St. Albans?
That sounds about right.
St. Albans.
St.
That's what it was. St. Albans.
I have the brain of a goldfish.
So does her sister, don't worry.
Runs in the family. 40 years, the disappearance of the Radford University student Gina Renee Hall and the whereabouts of her remains have remained a mystery. So on June 28th, 1980, 18-year-old Gina Renee Hall went missing from a nightclub. Whoop, whoop. Not the missing part, but the
No,
nightclub
like the club,
part.
like, ooh, wee, ooh, wee.
Growing up in Coburn, a small river and forest town in southwestern Virginia, Gina had a typical childhood. She and her older sister Diana were active in their school and church, and everything seems normal. But everything changed on the pretty summer day, ending up not normal at all. The two sisters were rooming together at a Radford apartment and taking summer classes at Radford University while Gina was a freshman. And she was in her very beginning stages of life. She was 5'2", 110 pounds, beautiful brown curly hair that was about shoulder length. I mean, she was at the hype of her time. She's got to go party. On a June night, after a hectic week of studying, Gina borrowed her sister's Diana's car and set off to the local nightclub for a night of fun and dancing. Later that night, she would go to a house at Claytor Lake with a man she had never met. Apparently, Diana said her sister called her and told Diana that she was at Claytor Lake with Steve, and then the phone line dropped off. That's like part of a scary movie right there. I wouldn't want to hear that. Gina was never seen or heard from again. Her car was found by Diana and friends on June 30th. 2 days later, abandoned under a railroad trestle crossing on Hazel Hollow Road with the door handle pull ripped off. So in older model cars, a door handle pull was like a leather material on the inside of the car that you would grab and pull it towards you. So in addition to the door handle being pulled off, there was fresh bloodstains and hair in the trunk. On July 2nd, the investigation led police to a secluded cabin at Claytor Lake where there was evidence of a violent attack. Evidence inside the lake house definitely painted a picture of Gina's fight in the end. Gina's blood was there, her hair was there, and the blue towel covered in matching carpet fibers cleaned up her blood, her hair, and she was beaten fiercely in this lake house. Crime scene technicians covered over 30 samples of bloodstains matching Gina's blood type inside this home. Within days of Gina's disappearance, Epperly, the person who she supposedly went to this lake house with, who was also twice before been tried on rape charges, he was now a person of interest. And within 5 days, the one and only prime suspect. So for 2 intensive months, the Hall family and many volunteers joined investigators in the search around the lake house. All through the woods, even a tracking dog led police along railroad tracks from a site in Polsky County and across the New River to Epperly's mother's house. Somehow moms are always involved. Her home was over in Radford, but no remains were ever found. So on August 8th, 1980, the same year, just months after Gina's disappearance, Epperly goes to Ohio, and within days in the same area, Vicky Koch is reported missing. Koch's body was found in mid-September, no longer a missing person, but a murder case, and a cold case still today. Maybe we'll get lucky and Liz will look that up.
Probably.
74 days later, the former Virginia Tech football player, Stephen Epperly, was charged with her murder. Though Gina's body was never found, Epperly was arrested and charged with first-degree murder for her. Epperly became the first person in Virginia and only the fourth in the U.S. history convicted of murder in the absence of a body, a confession, or an eyewitness. He remains in prison serving a life sentence. And on December 8th of 1980, the trial began and Epperly walked into the courthouse with a cool demeanor. And then they all proceeded with a little field trip to the lake house for the judge, jurors, and attorneys. I guess that was more for to get a look around the crime scene to get more of a clear view of what happened. Not sure. But back in the courtroom, Hall's sister was the first witness called. For many days, the prosecution and defense would go back to back with facts and evidence. But on December 16th of 1980, the prosecuting attorney from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Everett Shockley, tried Epperly with only circumstantial evidence. No body, no confession, and no witnesses. Epperly was convicted of murder in the first degree of Gina Renee Hall and was sentenced to life in prison with no body, no confession, and no witnesses. This is a crazy case. Epperly was convicted of murder for first degree for Gina and was sentenced to life in prison. As Epperly was led out of the courthouse, he had a confused look on his face, the one of shock and surprise, as to be thinking to himself, how did that happen with no body?
And there are some cases currently now, so there are some cases out there today that, I wish you could charge somebody. Like it's obvious, but because there's no body, they won't charge.
They should. But yeah, he was probably just like, how did I not win this case? There was no body.
I think that should have been a shoo-in. What the hell?
So the thing that got Epperly was his own statements made to others.
Don't talk about your crimes if you're gonna commit them.
Yeah, apparently they always have to talk about them. I don't get it. So the Hall family did not have Gina's bodily remains to lay to rest, but still everyone went through the motions of having a funeral, and they focused on all the good things about Gina. The Hall family placed a headstone down with no body for it to, look over. But Mr. Epperly is currently incarcerated at the Buckingham Correctional Center in, Dillwyn.
Yeah,
I hope I said that right. Virginia. Epperly has never told anyone where he disposed of Gina's body. He still remains eligible for parole hearings every 1 to 3 years, and now also is allowed a second separate geriatric parole request because he's getting in his years. So over the years, Diana has been a fierce advocate for justice for her sister, and Diana relentlessly pursues leads to bring in cadaver dogs, and Vass, who has a PhD in anthropology and is a professor at the University of Tennessee. Vass has invented a machine to detect DNA buried beneath the surface of the ground. It's a pretty cool machine. So from her own research, Diana was able to narrow down specific areas to search. In each location, the professor zeroed in within feet of each place where DNA was found, and the cadaver dogs then confirmed the exact locations to dig. At the dock near Crater Lake cabin, Vass's machine responded to possible DNA associated with Gina and pointed to a specific corner of the house where a utility room is located. The investigation has confirmed 8 different locations located throughout the area and have a familial match to Gina's DNA. There are still a few more areas that she wants to scan, and that 6 of these locations were registered for human bones. Diana said that she only excavated one of the 6 locations, and human bones were found at one of them. Diana published her own book, The Miraculous Journey, A Day Made in Heaven, which takes a look at Gina's life and how Diana dealt with the loss. Years later, Gina's sister went through buried boxes filled with paper of 4 decades. This helped to confirm that her version of that tragic night was true, that her sister did not leave with Epperly willingly. Case files included testimonies from 2 women who were at the Marriott on the tragic night, and they reported Gina Hall being harassed and even seeking safety at their table. The testimony from a farmer who told police he found 2 men, one resembling Epperly, in a creek along his property, cutting up something. The men allegedly told him that they were cutting up fish bait, but that farmer has since passed away. Diana believes Gina pulled the car over and Epperly followed her there when she left the nightclub. She now shares optimism and the truth about what really happened to her sister's final night, and her sister's final resting place will be found. Gina was an 18-year-old young lady that was abducted and killed by a 28-year-old monster called Epperly. Now, how does Gina connect into the St. Albans Sanitorium? Apparently, Epperly was working on the grounds of the sanatorium during the foundation and construction. Gina's car was found less than 1 mile from the sanatorium, and they say that Epperly buried parts of her body under the fountain. But locals say that can't be true for the fact that the foundation of the fountain wasn't even laid around that time. But the facility is huge, and there are plenty of places that Epperly could have buried her body. It's been said that she could have been buried under a room or floors. That's why they hear a woman screaming. Others say that her spirit was drawn to the sanatorium due to the fact that the place already holds a powerful spiritual presence, bringing her there to try and tell her story, or haunting the space that Epperly worked. Let's all hope that Gina's sister Diana finds her body and lays her to rest properly, giving her spirit the peace it needs. So, funny coincidence. My family and I went to Florida for a vacation, and my husband and I were chatting with the lady who was checking us into the resort. And my husband brought up the topic of our podcast. And the lady, call her Kitty, asked me what I was researching. I told Kitty I just finished with the St. Albans Sanitorium, and I'm going to be looking into Gina Renee Hall. Kitty stops, looks up at me, and says, "My God, I'm from Redford, Virginia. I was a little girl when she went missing. It was the scariest thing. My dad would play cards with her family." And then Kitty went on to tell us that there was like alligators on the property and to just beware. So that was a fun little roundabout thing.
And the best part was she literally called me right after it happened. I thought some weird emergency was going on.
No, I had to tell you so I didn't forget with my goldfish brain. But anyways, that's the sad story of Gina Renee Hall, the 18-year-old who was taken from this earth too early. And I hope one day her body is found.
You know, I believe the whole thing with her spirit being seen around the sanatorium. I think she was buried near the sanatorium, and then she decided to start haunting Epperly because he was near there. She knew he went there. And then some other ghosts joined in, and so she just chose to stay because they helped her out.
Maybe. Possibly.
We're
I
like,
hope
"Yo,
she was scaring him.
Yo, you want us to help you haunt your boy?" She was like, "Hell yeah, let's haunt him."
Pretty sure. No. Well, I hope you all enjoyed my sister being on, taking over my spot since I had to work and could not be here. She will get more at ease of talking on air, but I hope you all enjoyed listening to her and had fun.
And she will be on a lot more. Like, we will have random guest appearances. I have some, not necessarily co-workers, but workers who work in the same field and have been doing the job a lot longer, who have expressed interest in coming in and either talking about something they've done, talking about like a crazy case they've worked on. And then we have a retired guy that I don't want to talk about too much because it's a surprise for you guys when he does come on. But Trish will be like a regular guest. She'll fill in for Sam if Sam can't be here. Quite technically, she could fill in for me if I couldn't be here. When Sam comes and visits, I'll show her how to use the new site. Yeah.
No,
Yes.
that's new. I'll break everything.
You won't. It's very simple.
It took us 30 minutes how to get me to use the site right now.
Yeah, but I didn't have that issue with her.
Exactly. She's smarter than I am.
Well, we have it. It's because you had your pop-up. Anyways, Trish will fill in for Sam if Sam can't do it. Eventually, she may even fill in for me if Sam learns what she's doing. And rather than that, she may also just be on as like a third person just for fun because we like having her on. So it's like 2 hosts and a half host. She's our half host, our ghost host, Scarlett.
All right. As a reminder, our socials are up and running, and we have Facebook, Instagram, X, and are streaming on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and Amazon.
Yeah,
if
we're
you
on
could do us
Apple
a
podcast now.
Huh?
We're on Apple Podcast now.
Apple Podcasts. I thought you said we were going to be doing like video podcasts. I was like, what? No. If you could do us a huge favor, please comment and rate the episodes and pages, as it helps us push out there into the world.
If you have anything you'd like to send us or want us to talk about, please send us a message on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter /X, or you can simply email us at deadandwrongpodcast@gmail.com, and we will see you next week for another episode full of all things dead. Bye.
Bye.